Oh my god. Are you gonna give me a fade? Give me a fade in.
1, 2, 3, 4. Hey.
All right. Well, welcome back to episode 3 of Dicks and Politics. It has been an absolutely hellish day for us already, if I'm being completely honest. So Hannah and I had to drive back into the city from New England, and what would you say, Hannah? How often was there a traffic jam? Every 2 miles?
Oh my god, and then we hit every yellow light once we got in the city. I couldn't even believe it. Absurd.
It was not cute, it was not fun, but we did stop at Petco, and we did stop at Wendy's. So we've had worse times. So how were your Thanksgiving? Adriana, we'll start with you. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. It was just me and my family of 4, and I got drunk, so there you go.
There you go. All right. How was your Thanksgiving, Hannah?
It was good. I spent it with my boyfriend and his family before he left for Florida.
But he'll be back in 3 weeks, so it's okay.
It's fine.
Can't.
Mine was wonderful because it was just me and my mom and my dad. So after we ate, we fell asleep. We didn't have to entertain anyone. It was just like, all right, well, that was good. The end. So, all right, we have a lot going on in episode 3. We do want to sort of shift gears away from Thanksgiving and get right into the holidays. So, Adriana and I are going to tell you guys how to navigate around New York City, you know, just how to get around like a New Yorker, how to avoid a lot of the crowds, what touristy things are actually worth going to, what you can completely skip. Hannah's going to share with you her favorite places to eat. We're also going to do a little what's burning because we, of course, need to talk about what's happening in the world. And then on top of that, we're going to tackle some modern manners, and we're going to talk about what to get your spouse's family for the holidays, or what to get, you know, say you're going home with a friend for the holidays, what to get their parents for a holiday gift, and how to be the perfect house guest, because no one knows how the hell to do that anymore.
I showed up to my boyfriend's family's Thanksgiving empty-handed. I felt like such a jerk. I know it was, but you know, it was a last-minute call. I was supposed to be, I was supposed to go out of town for the holidays. I should probably send something over there, like flowers or something. What do you think?
Yes, absolutely. And a handwritten
Look
thank
at
you
she's mortified.
I'm mortified.
I was going to see the look on her face. She's like, Hannah, we were raised better than
I can't even look at you right now. But you know what? Had episode 3 come out sooner, I have a really great tip I think you're really, really going to like, and it would have taken you 2 seconds to do. So, all right, let's start, unfortunately, with the bad news first, which seems to be the way. Let's get into what's burning. This morning, I was watching the news while I was addressing my parents' holiday cards, and they were talking about guns and gun violence in the U.S., which is obviously a hot-button topic. And there were some statistics from gunpolicy.com that I found to be particularly disturbing. So in 2013, the U.S. had 9 times as many gun homicides per 100,000 people as Canada, and then 50 times as many as Germany, and 90 times as many as the UK. Yeah, I'll just let that sink in for a second. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but the CEO of Tom's, you know, Tom's Shoes. So for every pair you buy, you have Tom's, don't you, Hannah?
I love Tom's.
Yeah. So for every pair you buy, they give one away. And then on top of that, they are donating $5 million towards organizations that are working to stop gun violence, which is the single largest corporate donation ever in the history of ever towards gun violence, which I think is fantastic. They also have it set up on their website where you can go on and in 30 seconds or less, if you type really fast, you can quickly send a letter off to your state officials to let them know how you feel about gun policy. And already I think they said there was something like 500,000 or some, I believe it's probably more than that, postcards that have been sent, and that just came out day before Thanksgiving. So I guess that's encouraging, but in 2016, this is from the CDC, in 2016, every day, more than 100 people were killed with a gun. 14,000 were gun murders and 23,000 were gun suicides. So, I am not a gun owner.
Neither am I.
Same.
Yep. But I certainly do have friends that are gun owners, both in New England as well as many of my friends down south. What do you guys think about gun regulations? What do you think about background checks, yay or nay?
Background checks? Yeah, definitely.
What do you think, Hannah?
Definitely background checks. I think, For me, I had this conversation with somebody the other day about this, and I feel like, yeah, I think everyone should know how to use a gun properly. I think we should all be educated on everything. You know, the more you can learn about any subject, guns included, the better. But do I feel the need to own one? No. I live alone, and I don't feel like I need that kind of protection. I would feel less safe with a gun in the house. So maybe that's just me.
Well, because you didn't grow up around them either, so it's not like a familiar.
I mean, that's not true. I definitely had people in my family that had guns. My mom did not own a gun.
Yeah, exactly.
My grandfather did. There were guns in his house where I, spent a lot of my holidays and my vacation time. So it's not unusual, but do I feel like I need one to be safe or comfortable? Definitely not. It makes me think. I think more accidents can happen and more violence occurs because of guns. So that's
I really hate guns. Actually, I went to a range about 2 years ago, and it was the first time I ever even seen a gun in person. And I held it, and I didn't even want to shoot it. I was like, oh my gosh. But I mean, I don't have any issues with guns if it's done responsibly, and like you said, people are educated about how to use them, and
if there's background checks to make sure that they are not people that are violent or committed a crime.
Would I ever want to own a gun? Probably not, unless I was living in bumblefuck, had my own property, and just needed it for protection, I guess.
But if there's like an apocalypse or some sort of crazy takeover of the country, God forbid. I know it sounds insane, but whatever. But
nothing sounds insane anymore.
That's what these people think, though, that they feel like they need gun protection for. Don't you want to be able to pick one up and say, I can use, you know what I mean? If you needed to, you want to be able to pick one up and say, I right now couldn't, but I guess like that's a point to be made. Like, I would want to know how to use one. Do I want one around all the time? No, but if I need to pick one up and use one, I want to be able to say, okay, I got this for myself.
Now, a lot of my friends that own guns, it's a thing they do. They all make sandwiches, and then they go out into the forest, and they shoot at targets, and it's a way for them to spend time together. I've never done that, but, then we also have friends in New England who like to shoot skeet, and like they did back in Downton Abbey, as you remember. And it's a competitive thing. So, yeah, I never grew up with guns. We never had guns in the house. Recently, though, there have been a decent amount of robberies back in my hometown, and I was home with a couple of my friends, and we caught a robber, like red-handed, trying to break into my neighbor's car. And the next afternoon, one of my ex-boyfriends, one of the ones I'm still friends with, came over, and we're standing in the kitchen, and takes his phone out of his pocket, takes his wallet out, and the next thing I know, there's a handgun on my kitchen counter. And I said, what are you doing? He said, what do you mean? I said, well, what are you doing? I'm just about to pour you a glass of Merlot. I have a cheese platter. Why is there a gun on my counter? He's like, well, I conceal carry. I have a license. I go to the range all the time. And didn't you say there was a robber the other night? I mean, don't you want me to protect you? And I'm like, oh, well, I guess. And there was something, because I know him very well, and I know that he's mentally stable. He's not a violent person. He does, have a gun permit and all these other things. This is someone who has jumped through hoops to own this gun and conceal carry, and I thought, well, all right, okay. So would I ever want a gun? Like, no. But as Hannah said, if there's some sort of crazy apocalypse or if something nuts happened and I had to, especially if I had children, if I had to defend my children from someone who could be violent and harmful, hell yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. But I will also say I'm allergic to gunpowder because I did go to the shooting range with my ex-boyfriend from high school, and I shot off literally like one shot out of a rifle and one shot from a handgun. The gunpowder flew back onto my face. I broke out in hives. My eyes swelled shut, and that was the end of that. So...
Sorry, I'm just trying to
a bow and arrow it is.
Oh, yeah.
Archery it is.
All right, Katniss.
Oh, my God. So, all right, we're going to continue to cover sort of guns and what's going on with guns in this country. Yeah. All right, let's go into our next segment. Let's get into the holidays. Let's get into the holiday spirit. There is a way to come into New York City for the holidays and avoid the crowds, not spend $1 billion, and we are here to tell you in our next segment called Wait!
I have a coupon.
Jessica.
Yes, I am.
And I have lived in New York for 5 years, but I think Hannah and you and I have been coming into the city for the holidays our entire freaking lives.
Yeah, don't come Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah,
No.
we hope you liked our tips for avoiding all the bullshit and all the drama for the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. But all right, so here's the thing. Oh gosh, I don't even know where to start. So coming into the city for the holidays is something that a lot of people look forward to. I know people come from all over the world just to see the Rockettes and go and see the tree in Rockefeller Center and then go ice skating in Central Park or Rockefeller Center or Bryant Park, wherever. Pick your poison, whatever tickles your fancy. But there's definitely some things that you can avoid in terms of tourist traps when you come into the city. So let me first talk about the one touristy thing that is so worth it, and that is going to Top of the Rock. Have you guys gone to Top of the Rock?
I actually haven't done that yet.
Oh, let me tell you, it is the one thing that is so worth your while and worth the money. Now, of course, you can choose to go at sunset if you'd like. If you like to get those sunset pictures, I mean, it's December, it's going to be cold, but hey, why not? Let me tell you something. The crowd control with Top of the Rock is world class. Even though you are there with hundreds of other people, there is no pushing and shoving. You don't feel claustrophobic. Everyone will have a chance to get a picture. You want someone to take a picture of you and your family, they have a professional photographer there. Which I would recommend if you do end up doing that. I mean, it depends on how much money you want to spend. They give you the option to either have it professionally printed up right then and there, or they give you the option to email it to yourself. You might as well do that. You know, the kiosk is a little bit slow, but you might as well do that because then you can make as many copies as you want when you get home. You don't have to worry about traveling with it.
Is winter is this the time of the year to go up there? Or is it like it's an all year?
It's an all year thing, yeah. I usually go up in the summertime because
it's a little warmer and nicer.
Just
but I didn't know if there was the Christmas lights. You can just
you can see over onto whatever it's called, Fifth Avenue.
Right.
You can see that. You can probably, I would assume, see the tree from there too.
You can see everything. The ice sculptures. You can see.
You can see Central
stores.
Park.
So it is a good. I mean, winter is a good time to go, but any time of year is fun.
If you do want to go to look at the tree in Rockefeller Center, I would recommend not trying to go. Don't try to wiggle your ass into Rockefeller Center. Go over to Fifth Avenue. Stand in front of Saks. It's Saks, right? Or is it Bendel's? It's right there.
It's Saks.
It's Saks. Yeah. Stand right outside of Saks. Then you can see the whole bing bong with the angels, like from Home Alone. And then at the end of the angels, you see the big tree and you take your pictures and it's all the same. Let me tell you something. I got hot. When I first moved into New York City, I was like, oh, I'm going to go to the tree lighting. It's going to be great. I went with my roommate, and I think I told the story before. Some crusty-ass person stuck their hand in my pocket, took my Amex, and like an hour later, I got a notification that they had gone to McDonald's in Times Square and spent like $300 or $400.
At McDonald's?
First of all, that's my money. Second of all, I was broke. And third, they didn't even invite me.
They didn't share their fries.
No, they didn't share. They didn't have those nuggets. Actually, Hannah and I today we got free nuggets from Wendy's.
It was a day. I mean, we had a hard time getting here, but we did get free nuggets.
So it's okay because you guys didn't share with me.
Oh.
Now, a few other things that are worth it. The Radio City Rockettes. I feel like everyone should see that
Definitely,
at least
it's so good.
Once in their life. So whether you want to plan ahead and get your tickets ahead of time or you want to go, scuttling off to the box office, the price doesn't really make much of a difference. And then, of course, if you want to go down into Herald Square, like what we were talking about last week, and go and look at the windows in Macy's, that's a lot of fun. I love to walk along Fifth Avenue and look at all the beautiful windows at, like, Dior and Bendel's and Bergdorf and all those, and Saks. Oh, the nice thing about Saks, which a lot of people don't know, they have a light show. Like an outdoor light show. So if you just sit there every, 15 minutes or so? Every 15 minutes, it turns on, it's blasting Christmas carols, and it's a lot of fun. So again, that's what you're going to want to do. Now let's talk about what you don't want to do, Adriana. Like, what do you think tourists fall into when they come into the city?
You don't want to start too late in the day. That's number one, because you want to not be around all the crowds and stuff. You don't want to walk too slow in front of real New Yorkers.
Oh my God,
please.
Do not stop. Do not stop in the middle of the sidewalk to look at your phone, look at a map. Do not stop. If you need to stop, and I know I sound like a bitch and I don't care. I know. If you need to stop, if you need to freaking pull over, then do just that, pull over. Go smush your ass up against the side of a store, or go find a nice lamppost and hug it while you look at your phone. I don't care. Get out of the way of the sidewalk.
You just don't want to hold up the line. Learn how to take things quickly. Snap, snap, move.
Yep.
That's it.
You're not gonna, like, take a picture, it'll last longer. Boom, you're out. I can't.
You don't want to take a New York City yellow cab because traffic's going to be really bad. Even though the trains are going to be really, really packed, it's probably better.
Take the subway if you can.
Yeah, just be prepared to wait for the next train, if anything.
And can I add something? This is, okay, here is like a foolproof way. So here's what happens, guys. When you come into New York City, at any time, but especially around the holidays, and it is so obvious that you are a tourist. You've got your little ski gloves on. You are, maybe you have a lunchbox, a fanny pack. You are looking around very confused. Taxi drivers will 100% take advantage of you, and no matter where you are going, they will make a point to drive you through Times Square.
Yep.
Now, the shitty thing about that is the traffic is like armpit to elbow. It is disgusting. And it's a way for them to not only earn more money, but jack the tip that they're eligible for up. So here's what you want to do, all right? When you come into New York City and you want to take a taxi cab, unless you are going somewhere iconic like Radio City Music Hall, the Plaza Hotel, I don't know, where the hell else? MoMA, okay? Do not get in and say, take me to 1600 Avenue in the Americas. They're not going to know where the hell that is. New York City, like I said last time, is a grid system. You want to look at a map and you want to say, hi, I am going to 38th Street and 10th Avenue. Boom.
I would suggest just taking an Uber because if you don't really know your way around, you just type in the address and
exactly. So if you don't want to have the full New York City experience, then yes, take a Lyft, take an Uber, take a Juno, take a Via, whatever you want. You can type in the exact address you're going to. They pick your ass right up. You jump in and you go. Sorry, I get really, really frustrated when tourists come into town and one, they don't know where to go. 3, they like get robbed because they spend way too much money, and like also I just hate when taxi drivers take advantage of tourists. It really pisses me off. Can you explain how the subway works in terms of what subway tickets they should buy?
Okay, well, you can't use a token anymore, so don't think that's what you're going to use.
This is a token. Sorry, Hannah, this is a tokenless city.
No, because one time I took the train, and some of the stalls, they still have a little token thing in it.
Do they?
Yeah, and so this lady was really confused, and she didn't know that she had to get a Metro card. You have to get a Metro card at one of the little machine thingies.
They cost $2.50, I think. Or isn't it?
No, it's $2.75.
For a ride, but how much does an initial card cost? Is it $1.50?
Oh, it's $1.
Okay, so $1. So one card costs $1, and then every single time you take a ride. So even whether you're going just from like one stop to the next, or one stop and 20 stops away, that is one ride. It's $2.75 per ride.
Yeah, and if you're gonna stay in New York City for a week, I would suggest getting the weekly unlimited. It's only $32, I think, and you can go as many times as you want throughout the day.
Yep.
For that entire week.
Oh, and when you add to it, so once you start to run out of your Metro card, don't throw it away because they are refillable, and they usually don't expire for like a year or so. Like,
yeah, the expiration date is at the back of the card.
Perfect. So what you want to do is you want to refill your card. So you put it in, you say Metro card, you say refill your card, and then you want to add value. Do not add time, add value. V as in vagina, value. Thank you. I'm in a mood today.
It's all that traffic she sat in.
I know.
Left you over there.
I was very happy in the car, but now that I'm sitting in my home, I'm like, bitch!
Because you're back in New York.
Exactly. I'm back in my environment. What else? FAO Schwartz is opening again. Of course, you have to do that. There are There are carriage rides through Central Park. They are extremely expensive.
It's not worth it, in my opinion.
No.
Like the horse ones? Come on, let's not do that.
Well,
people.
and here's
It's
the thing.
2018. We don't ride horse carriages anymore. It's scary for them.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with Hannah.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. There are, and you can, here's the problem is you can never tell. There are a lot of stables here in New York City that are on the Upper East or Upper West Side where these horses are so well taken care of. And they are pampered and they eat the best food and they get exercise and they are very well taken care of. But then there are some that aren't as well taken care of. There's no way for you to tell. So for me, I think all three of us can agree we're animal lovers. We don't ride the horses, and we don't, yeah. But certainly, if you would like to, then go for it. Might I suggest, instead of riding horses, there are actually gentlemen, and you can find them in and around Central Park and right in Columbus Circle, that have these little, things, attached to the back of their bike.
Don't do it.
Why? I had a nice guy.
I had a really bad experience with it.
What happened?
He had a sign at the back of his little bike thing, and it was only 2 people. And he jacked up the price when he was done, and we got to our destination, and we had to fight him for 30 minutes.
Oh my god!
Because he said something about we weighed too much, and he was trying to scam us. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm gonna say this: if you insist on riding a horse, at least try to find one that's in the park and just goes around the park. Don't be one of those people that
goes through the goddamn street.
Yeah, because that's kind of scary for the horses, and it's just really unsafe. So. I mean...
And they don't belong in the streets.
Yeah.
So but we did 10 blocks on that bike thing, and it was $90.
Ew, no. I found a really nice gentleman named Frankie, and I kept his contact information, so every time my mom would come into the city, I would send Frankie to go pick her up, Grand Central, bring her over to my old apartment.
You're lucky.
Yeah, and he was wonderful, and I loved supporting him. So, again... you gotta find someone that's articulate. This is an instance where you do want to carry cash on you. Keep it on your inside pocket. When you go to this guy, say look, it's me, my wife, and my kid. We just want to go around Central Park. We've got $60. That's all we've got. Can you do it for 60? And usually they will say yes. It's when you have to pull out your credit card that they're going to be like, oh, well, I have to pay the credit card fee 3%. No, don't mess with any of that stuff.
No.
What else can people avoid? I mean, I can't think of anything else.
I have a good tip for if you really like Broadway and you've never been, but you don't want to spend $300 on a ticket.
Which is how much it costs, by the way. Surprise.
Yes. So, if you go online to playbill.com, you can see which Broadway shows offer standing seats.
Oh, yes.
And then you go there, it starts at around, there's 2 things. There's a lottery at 4, which is you can get front row tickets for half the price. And then if you don't win the lottery, they give you an option to stay back. And at 4:30 to 5, they open up the standing line. Now, it's first come, first served, so you want to be there. And then I think there's only 20 people to a row. So if you're within that first 20 people, you get a seat for $30 to $45. Nice. And it's an orchestra.
Nice.
Right. So that's my tip for Broadway shows.
Or I've heard Corbin was telling me about how you can just literally stand in the back, which I actually would not mind doing, because as long as you're wearing comfortable walking shoes, that means you can get up, you can get snacks, you can get drinks, you can go pee. Yep. Oh, I love that. But yeah, Broadway is really expensive. So expensive. And if you don't want to do that, then you can just come over to our house and I'll stand on my coffee table and I will give you a Broadway performance. You will not soon forget. Anyways.
We're at 30 minutes.
All right. We're going to be quiet. Adriana and I are going to be quiet. Hannah, we're going to let you tell us about your favorite places to go and get something to eat.
Oh my gosh, I get to talk about snacks, my favorite. It's my favorite subject. If I could have made it into the city early today, I would have dragged Sam over to brunch. My favorite spot is in the Village near Grove and Bleecker. It's called Bouvet. They do the best waffles there. I mean, they have food all day. It's not just a brunch spot, but I like to go there for brunch. I get their little waffles. I swear they make a homemade butter. It's a little cafe style place. If you haven't been there, you definitely have to check it out. My other favorite spot is to go to Saxon and Peroli. This place has the best cocktails. I swear to you, they make all kinds of different cocktails. They do little cocktails on tap, so you get your martini, your Manhattan, and then they give you one on the side to like pour in when you're done. It's so
Jesus.
so classy. My favorite dish there to snack on while I'm having my cocktails is the gnudi. They make it's like a homemade gnocchi, but it's lighter than a gnocchi. It's not it's more pillowy and like it just melts in your mouth. And then they do.
Adriana's touching herself.
I'm really hungry.
I'm over here drooling. I'm like, I'm sorry, guys. So seasonally, they'll do it with vegetables. Right now, I think they do it with like mushrooms and truffle because it's truffle season. And then in the spring, they'll do it with, spring corn and things like that. So if you haven't been to either one of those places, you should definitely check it out. I think.
So there's some places also, when you're here in the city, just don't eat anywhere near Times Square. Just don't do it.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah, like, don't do it. And people, I feel badly because people think that New York City is only in Times Square, and that just is so, no, absolutely not. So we do recommend getting reservations before you go out to eat. That includes breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You think I'm kidding? I'm not. Have I been kidding at all this entire episode?
No, you're right about
No,
that.
I've been hot and pissed off. So, with that being said, the best place to make a reservation is on opentable.com. You can either do it before you come into the city or you can get the app. When you're out and about during the day and you want to grab a really quick something to eat, but you don't want to have to leave a tip, you don't want to have to sit down for an hour and a half, and you don't want to go to McDonald's or Burger King or Chick-fil-A or Taco Bell or any of those other chain restaurants, there is a small chain here in New York called Pret a Manger, and to someone who just looks at it quickly, it sort of does look like Pret Manager. A guy that used to work for me was like, yo, Samantha, you want anything from Pret Manager? I love him. But they have soup, they have salads, they have donuts, they have baked goods, they have coffee, tea, juice, soda, chips, anything you could want. They have things that are ready-made, and it really is, it's fresh, and they're a wonderful company because every day, at the end of the day, whatever doesn't sell, they do give away to soup kitchens and homeless shelters.
Oh, wow,
so,
that's awesome.
Yep, they give back, and then same thing, I think their tip jars go towards that as well. So it's a really wonderful company. They do, I think in most of them, they do have restrooms if you need to, quickly wash your hands before you eat. But yeah, great place to either sit down for a hot second or grab a sandwich and keep walking, whatever you want to do. But they're all over the place here in the city, so you should be able to find one, no problem. There's also some au bon pain places here, which I know are all over the place anyway, but there's some here in the city as well, if that's...
And if you're in the East Village and you're looking, I know Sam loves some fried chicken. I recently went to this place called Boca. It was so good. It's like Korean fried chicken. I know you have to be careful because she's got food allergies, but
I know what that place is.
Oh my God.
I've never been, but I know what it is.
So good.
I think that's where all my boyfriends go.
Oh.
But they can't take me because I'm allergic.
Oh, gosh. Well, if you're not allergic and you love fried chicken, it's amazing. This guy took me there on like a group date kind of thing, and he knew I loved fried chicken. I was like, oh, this was a score on your part, but...
Amazing. I love it. So, all right, let's get into talking about modern manners and the holiday season. Now that I've cooled off a little bit, I want to talk to you guys about getting gifts for either your boyfriend or your spouse or your girlfriend, whatever, their families. A lot of people don't know what to get, and also how to be the perfect house guest in our next segment called Modern Manners.
Okay, Sam, tell me how to make up for my Thanksgiving faux pas with the new boyfriend.
All right, so 'tis the season to go to a lot of holiday parties. You're going to see a lot of friends, a lot of family members, but you also might be creeping into some social situations and parties where you are a guest. And a lot of people don't really know what to get. So this, for me, is foolproof. This is a crowd pleaser. I can't tell you how many times I have walked into black tie parties at these millionaires' mansions with this humble little gift, and people love it. So especially for those of you who are still in college, who may be away at boarding school, so you don't really have that much money, here's what I suggest. Go out, grab your favorite pasta sauce and grab your favorite dry pasta or spaghetti, whatever it may be. And then if you are over the age of 21, get a little bottle of wine, something like $15 or less, put it all together, and then when you get to the person's house and you give them the gift, you can say something like, we all eat such rich food over the holidays and they can be exhausting, so this is my favorite thing to do just on a cozy night when I want to relax. This is my favorite pasta sauce, my favorite kind of pasta, and this is just a good wine to go with pizza and a salad and pasta. It's really versatile. People love that, and it costs like $20 total, but people literally eat that up, and they're like, oh my God, that is so thoughtful. And I can't tell you, not only do people say nice things to your face, like, God, that is so sweet, thank you so much, but they remember it. And they will come to you, however many weeks, months, whatever later, and be like, we just had your pasta the other night with your wine. It was delicious. Thank you so much for that. It's so simple, and it's so inexpensive, but it is very thoughtful. And that is foolproof for me. Now, in your case,
it's too late. I already went.
Yeah, you already went.
What do I send? Flowers?
Yes. If I were you, I would send flowers.
Go to Urban Stems.
Yes. But then that means you can't send a handwritten thank you note. So if you have the time to go to a local florist with a little note, dear so-and-so, blah, 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 drop this off, whatever. Now, when you're buying flowers, now everyone has different taste. I realize this. But if you really, really want to blow people's socks off, especially people who really know what they're talking about, when you order flowers, you want to say something like, please don't add any fillers. No carnations, no astramaria, no baby's breath. So that means that if they do use any filler, it's usually going to be some nice hydrangea, which is great. They might use some roses, which of course are lovely. It heightens the sophistication of the bouquet, but it doesn't cost that much extra.
So normally I would have brought a bottle of wine, but it was literally Thanksgiving Day, and there are no liquor stores open where I live.
And rightfully so.
So I was not able to bring it. I didn't really think on my feet. I probably could have grabbed some flowers like last minute and brought them, but I was just like, but you know what? It'll be nicer after. I'll just send them, and their house is for sale, so it'll look nice.
There you go. Now, I like to try and be a really good hostess, which means that when people come to my house, they have like their own set of towels, they have their own toiletries that are travel size, they have clean sheets, they have like 6 pillows on their bed. Like, I go absolutely nuts. And everyone hosts differently, but we should all follow some cardinal rules when we are house guests. Always, when your host and hostess, or whatever it may be, are preparing any sort of meal, but especially dinner, go in and ask, is there anything I can help you with? Now, chances are they're probably going to say, oh no, sweetie, you go relax, I got it. But you need to ask. Also, when one of the hostesses or host gets up after you finish a meal and starts clearing plates, you better get your ass up out of your seat and help clear the dishes. All right? And if you can, just scooch right in and start doing the dishes, then do them. I cannot tell you how many times, especially in college, I was so embarrassed because I would bring friends home from school and they wouldn't ask my parents if there was anything they could do to help. They wouldn't help with the dishes. They were just very, very shy. I'm like, I don't think my house is very intimidating, and I certainly don't think my parents are intimidating. So I don't really know what that was all about, but I just remember that my parents would say stuff to me like, we don't want that person back, and I'd be like, trust me, they're not invited back.
Yeah.
What else? When it comes to if the host or hostess asks you, hey, I'm putting in a load of dark laundry, do you have anything you'd like to add? Then say yes. Other than that, I would not ask. If you're only staying there for like 2 or 3 nights, do not ask if you can use their washer and dryer. Like, you should know how to prepare ahead of time.
Yeah.
And or unless you fall in the mud, then of course you're going to have to, I'm sure they would much rather you wash things in the washing machine than wash it in the bathtub. And here's another thing. If you're going home with your significant other or a friend and their parents let you use their car, fill the car back up.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Please put gas back
Keep
in
it
the
clean,
car.
yeah.
Keep the car clean. Fill the gas back up. If you can only throw in, a few bucks, fine. If you can afford to fill it up again, please do fill it up again. Little things like taking out the garbage. If they have a pet that needs to be on a leash to be taken out to use the bathroom, offer to take the pet out. If you're all sitting down enjoying
If someone's
yourselves.
letting you use their house, I am a big fan of leaving it the way I came. So I will wash those sheets and remake the bed and leave a little note saying, thank you so much. We washed and cleaned all the towels and sheets. We appreciate everything, and just leave it at that. And,
Absolutely. Yep. And leave some little flowers if you have time. Yeah, I completely agree. If you are, this is something, and I admit I didn't do this when I was in college, because when you're in college, you're young, but absolutely, once I started working in New York City, and I had money to do so, I would be sure to show up with, an assortment of cheese and crackers and other little snack things. Hannah, you're really good about this.
Yeah, always.
Adriana brings me fruit by the foot, so she's great about it too. But, you always bring little cheese things or little olives over to the house, and it's so, even if you're only coming for the afternoon, you're like, I brought food, and it's so lovely. So, college kids, if you're listening to this, or, young adults, if you're going home with your friends, parents, or whatever, and you eat them out of house and home, which of course is what they want you to do, maybe on the last day or the second to last day, run out, grab a gallon of milk, grab a dozen eggs, and maybe a bag of chips that you noticed that they had. And
make them breakfast before you leave. Even if you're doing all that and leaving the rest of the eggs and stuff, you were thank you so much. I made you breakfast. I bought you a few things.
Yeah. Yeah, just anything you can do to show them. Because I know the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because I know for a lot of people, especially younger people, saying thank you can actually be really uncomfortable, and we don't mean for it to be, because we are so grateful. But I remember being in my young 20s and especially in my teens and sort of tripping over how do I say thank you to the host? When do I say thank you?
I think it's just an intimidating social situation sometimes. You don't know the whole group, or you don't know.
Exactly. So if you aren't quite comfortable and you don't quite know how to say it yet, these are little things that you can do to show that you are indeed grateful for their hospitality. Always, 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 always send a handwritten thank you note within 3 days of the end of your trip, thanking them. And if you don't want to send a goddamn thank you note, then everyone's got email. Do not send a text. I hate that. I hate when people are like, thanks, no. Send someone an email. Dear so-and-so, it was so lovely to spend the holidays with you. Your hospitality was so warming, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Love, Sam, or whatever. It's not that hard. So speaking of good manners, we are going to wrap up this podcast with everyone's new favorite segment, Endgame. Now when men participate in Endgame, they have two choices. They can either do an interview over Skype, which is what dude number 1 did, or in this case, dude number 2, who's super, super busy, career guy, just our schedules were not lining up, he opted to send a text message. So when I asked dude number 2, what are you looking for? How would you describe dating here in New York City? Here's what he said. I wouldn't say I'm looking for anything specific, but I think a lot of people here would say the same thing. I've encountered very few people that were actually going into dating or joining dating apps that were expecting to develop a real relationship. I think people are generally curious, and that's probably where I'm at right now. So I'm curious to see what's out there and if anything develops from that.
So basically he's saying he doesn't know what he wants. How old is he?
I don't remember. It's over on my desk. I have a whole file of all of our dudes.
I don't know. I feel like that's what I did in my 20s, was kind of discover what I like and don't like in someone.
But what do you think about him saying that people are going into, be it Tinder, Bumble, Match.com, eHarmony, whatever, with already the expectation that they're not going to find a relationship, but they're going in anyway?
So I hate the fact that he's going in with this already with like a negative
I feel
thought.
yeah.
But I feel like if he was someone like me, who's already had this experience with so many people online, I probably would go in with a negative thought because it hasn't been the best thing.
I agree with you guys. I do think it's a little bit annoying that he's full on admitting, here I am on a dating site, but I am not looking for, neither do I expect a relationship to come out of this.
But, I mean, at least he's saying that, right? He's being upfront about it.
That's the most important thing, yeah. It's just saying what you're looking for.
Maybe he's out on dating sites trying to find what he's looking for, which is fine. I'm sure a lot of people do go on them looking for that, but I'm sure there's just as many people that go on knowing what they're looking for, hoping that they're finding somebody outside of their little box that fits that.
He did say that he was curious to see what's going on out there, and if anything develops from it, he's totally down with it.
Right, so it's not like he's totally against it. But
it's not like he's playing.
Yeah.
Because I would like to say I do vet the guys before they come on Endgame, and they are all genuinely looking for a relationship.
No, and I don't get the vibe that he's playing. I just get the vibe. Maybe it just sounds like he hasn't had the best luck with people.
Okay.
Maybe he's meeting girls that don't know what they're looking for. Maybe it's the type of girls he picks. I'm not sure. I don't know. I feel like in this point in my life, I have such a good sense of what I want. So it's so hard for me to relate to that.
All right, so here's a longer response. I asked him what he was finding specifically here in New York City. He said, from the jump, I've noticed that people here in New York City are selfish. Some hide it better than others. You'll meet a lot of high-quality people here, but everyone seems to have an agenda, more so than people in other cities in the U.S. Ooh, that was a read, and he's not wrong.
No, he's not wrong.
I wouldn't know because I don't date in New York, but it sounds right. It sounds right.
He goes, everyone has tons of options, so first impressions are everything. You'll literally get asked, 1, what do you do for a living? 2, where do you live in the city? For the sole purpose of being sized up. Truth. Asking what someone does seems normal, but like people actually give a shit where you live, and they're asking because they're sizing you up from a dollar standpoint. If I say I live in Soho or I live in Harlem, which blah, 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 they're judging me based on that. But I'm somewhat guilty of that also. I would say he's absolutely right. But again, and I think I said this like in episode 2 or whatever, like I cannot date guys that are not as ambitious as me. I can't do it because they don't get it.
So do you think that that's where people are coming from when they ask these types of questions? They're not sizing you up for
your bank account.
Right, but more or less sizing you up to see where you fit and par to themselves.
I think it's a little bit of both.
Because I'm sure somebody doesn't also want to be dating somebody too high above themselves. It'll make you feel intimidated, no?
Not me, but I see why you would say that.
Yeah.
Not because I think you get intimidated easily, but because...
you know what I'm saying? In general, I think a lot of people are like that. They don't want somebody that's going to make them feel inferior to themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I had a really... Like, I've always been in pretty high-level high-level positions here in New York City, and I remember my first year dating here was a disaster because I would meet all these really, really nice guys that were good-looking, they were really successful, and when they found out that I was as successful, if not more so, than they were, and that I was making a hell of a lot more money in some cases than they were, they ghosted the hell out of me.
Well, that's what I mean.
You know,
I feel like
and then
that
I'd finally get in
happens a lot.
touch with them like months later, and they'd be like, oh, I just sort of felt like we weren't on the same page. Like, you know, you're really fancy. I'm like, I'm really not that fancy. Like, I wish you could see me right now.
I've had that experience, and I've also had the opposite, where at one time I wasn't doing very well financially, and I would go on dates with guys that were like lawyers and doctors, and then that question would come up like, oh, so what do you do for a living? I'm just like, I'm unemployed right now. And then I never heard from them again. It's like, does that freaking matter?
And I will say that there was a time I existed before I had this high-powered career path in New York City, and I think that I was just as worthy of someone's love and respect back then than I am now.
Oh, I'm not being cynical. I'm just saying, you know, because I know tons of, you know, successful women who date guys that may not be as successful, but I know also that it tends to come up. I'm saying it just comes up in one way or another, whether it be them feeling, you know, like they don't have as much to bring to the table or, you know, whatever.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. But I do think that dating here in New York City is very interesting, and people are very careful about who they pair themselves up with. I'm just going to come out and say it. Like, I, at one point a few years ago, was sort of running in this crowd with a lot of girls that were from down south. And oh my God, were these women beautiful. I mean, they're everything from head to toe to their conversation skills, everything was just on point. And I was such like a belly button when I would go out with them because, you know, I mean, like I have like nice clothes and stuff like that, but I mean, come on, you guys know me. I'm like, someone tells me something, I'm gonna like snort while I'm laughing. I'll try not to, but sometimes it comes out. But I did notice that they were like, anytime they would see a guy dressed a certain way, with a certain look, they would go after him like none other. And typically he would turn out to be a douchebag who wanted nothing to do with them. But I don't know, dating, oh God, and that's just one example. So I don't know. This guy, he brings up a lot of good points though.
Definitely.
He's not a pot calling the kettle black. He's a black kettle calling, no, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you know what I mean? Like you can't, like the pot calls the kettle black. He's like, no, I'm about it too. People do it and I do it too. So good for him. Thank you very much, dude number 2. That was
super
really
honest.
Very honest, very insightful.
We wish you the best of luck. Hopefully you figure out what you're looking for.
I just have to
find her.
I love you so much, and I just need to tell you that this mic that's on your cord is not live. The only live mic is the one that's in between the three
right here.
Hannah's holding her cord on her headphones, talking into that microphone. I can't. All right, look, I think that just about does it for episode 3 of Dixon Politics. We want to thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you for watching all of our stories, for sharing our podcast with your friends and family. But we'd love for you guys to be more vocal. Are there things you like? Are there things you don't like? Slide into our DMs, write down in the comments section, email us, Facebook, whatever. Let us know if there's anything you want us to cover, and we will see you next week for episode 4. So this is Samantha.
This is Hannah.
And I'm Adriana, and you've just listened to Dicks and Politics. Thank you for listening to Dicks and Politics.
Digestible and unfiltered content about men, money, and moments.
New episodes every Wednesday.
Don't forget to subscribe.